Suresh Babu, and welcome back to yet another discussion on fitness. Today I have in studio Mr. Dilip, who is a master's degree holder in food and nutrition, being a person who phenomenally transformed fitness goals of a lot of people, about 3,000 people. So Dilip, welcome to the studio. Happy to have you on the stage.
Thank you, Suresh. Thank you for inviting me to your show. I'm glad I'm here to help a lot of people, with a lot of queries.
Right, Dilip. Dilip, my first query, which a lot of people have on their mind: do we ever have a right time to work out? Which is the best time of the day to work out, or is that a fallacy to hold such a thought?
Okay, so basically, there is no right time. There is no specific time to do workout. Your feasible time would be the best, choice to do, best time to do the workout. Mm-hmm. So there is a research, basically depends. Basically, whenever we do workouts, we get a lot of energy, or it depends on the recovery too.
Okay.
So and in our body there are different hormones that's gonna produce at different times.
Okay.
So usually testosterone is a hormone that will help you with the recovery and muscle growth. So testosterone is active maybe from 12 p.m. Basically if at all people do workouts maybe in the afternoon or in the evening, so they have better muscle hypertrophy, and it is only 1%, but which is not possible for everyone. In general, your feasible time would be the best time to do the workouts.
Okay. So there's no hard and fast rule.
There's no hard and fast rule.
Okay. So then what is overtraining? Sometimes people work twice a day, in the morning and in the evening too. Some bodybuilding athletes. Is that good for their health? Is that a viable practice to do?
So of course, overtraining is not good. Okay, overtraining is something that you're overdoing things with your workouts. Okay? And it depends on the training volume. Okay, for example, you're a beginner. Okay. For a beginner, recovery would be a little slow. You can't just overtrain from day one. Okay, you tend to have a lot of soreness, and you can't just build muscle when you overtrain.
Yeah.
For an advanced lifter, his volume should be on a higher side because his recovery would be a bit faster.
Okay.
End of the day, you can't just train to the extent where you can't just give enough on the other day. Okay, so you should have better recovery. Overtraining, you can't just recover your muscles enough when you overtrain. Okay, you tend to have different joint pains, you tend to psychologically, you can't just focus on the other factors. So overtraining is not recommended, and it is not really necessary to hit gym twice a day if you could compensate your volume once in a day.
I usually practice this, hearing from one of my first coaches, that I need to give a good 48-hour gap when I train a muscle to retrain the same muscle. Is that right? A good 48 hour is a good 2-day gap?
Yeah, 48 hours is needed maybe for a beginner or maybe an intermediate lifter. If you are an advanced lifter, your muscles will recover quick. Maybe even at the span of 12 hours.
Oh, okay.
So it depends on your experience with that workout routine. Advanced lifter recover pretty quick. They can just train even after 24 hours. So maybe for a beginner, he needs more time, maybe 48 hours or more than that.
So the muscle memory or the training of the same muscle again and again over the years would make it impossible for those lifters to train the muscles more frequently.
Muscle memory is something different. Okay, muscle memory is something related to your muscle cells. Okay. And muscle memory is related something to your experience with the training routine. Okay, so for example, I do my workouts. Okay, I do my workouts, and I just used to work out more frequently, and I give a huge gap in between. Yeah. So there is a muscle memory. It means when I do workouts, my cells gonna break and produce a lot of muscle fibers, muscle cells. So my body still have a lot of nucleus in my body. So for me, it's very easy to regrow my muscle again. Okay. Similarly, I already trained enough variations, so I know a lot of variations already. So their muscle memory comes into picture. Okay. For a beginner, there is no muscle memory because that is the first time he's training his muscle.
I get it. So what time gap should be given between workouts? People say that a 50-second, 30, 90. So what exactly is the right time between workouts, or between sets, I can say? Yep.
So it is always good to give at least 1 minute to 1.5 minutes. If it is a compound lift, you can even give 2 minutes. So you have to give enough time for the recovery so that the next set shouldn't get impacted.
Okay, I get that.
Your muscles will grow with the volume. This is a strength training. It's not an endurance training, right? Maybe if it is an endurance training, they give 20 seconds gap, 30 seconds gap. It is a strength training. You're working on building your muscle hypertrophy.
Okay.
So muscle hypertrophy is directly related to the volume.
Okay.
If you give less gap, you can't do more repetitions in the next set. Okay. So
I get that. So in that case, when we are training, when we give the right amount of gap, is there a possibility of increasing the variations, the number of variations, or is there a restriction on the number of variations per muscle or per day that a user or an athlete should build in?
So if it is a beginner, he should train each muscle anywhere between 6 to 8 sets per week. So he can segregate his workout routine accordingly. Okay. If it is an intermediate lifter, if he is an intermediate lifter or she is an intermediate lifter, they can train anywhere between 10 to 14 sets per muscle per week. Advanced lifter can train even more than 18 sets per muscle per week.
Okay. That's an average.
That's the approx equation for beginners, intermediate, and advanced lifters for muscle hypertrophy.
Another common query is regarding the combination. Can we do strength and cardio on the same day, or can cardio be repeated all 6 days? A lot of people, there is a lot of fanfare for the six-pack abs. So a lot of people tend to do a lot of cardio. So can we combine cardio onto your chart for all 6 days with strength training?
Okay, it is really not necessary. Okay, cardio is for your heart. Okay, so your cardiovascular strength, and it will help you to spend some extra calories. Okay, and weight training will help you with the body, improving your body composition. When you lift weights, you build muscle. Okay, and when you do cardio, just because you are spending some extra calories, you will have better drop in your fat percentage. Okay, but with a good pace.
Okay, so cardio has nothing to do with core, building core or developing core. Okay.
Your core muscles will get visible when you drop down your fat percentage. Okay, so when you do cardio, you spend extra calories. That in turn will help you to drop down your fat percentage. And it's really not necessary to do cardio all the days in a week. Okay, you can just split your cardio and your weight training.
So how do we measure the progress, and how do we know how much we're progressing? A lot of people tend to get demotivated after working for a month, 2, 3, depending on the person, his personality and his ambition. So how can people measure the progress? Are there tools, methodologies, or just clicking pictures is a way to go about?
Okay, people tend to demotivate when they just focus on a single parameter, which is called weight. Okay, anyhow, weight gonna fluctuate. The major parameters for progress would be the pictures, your strength, how well you could adhere to your nutrition and workout plan. Okay, how well you're improving your strength. So these are the major parameters to track the progress.
Okay, so now that you said weight and weight loss, is it hard? I would definitely want to do another session with you where we talk about condition-based or health condition-based fitness and the kind of exercises those individuals should take. But is it hard for the diabetic patients to lose weight? Is there a norm that patients with diabetes find it hard?
Diabetic patients gonna lose fat a bit, lose weight a bit faster. Okay, we have to be very careful when we are handling a diabetic client. Okay, if it is we have to be very careful when we are handling a diabetic client. Okay, so to lose weight, we have to be on a deficit, and of course, there is a research which has happened, and it is proven. If someone is a diabetic who is insulin resistant, weight training and dropping down few kgs will help them to improve their insulin sensitivity. Okay, so there is a relationship. Weight training will help them with a better insulin sensitivity. We have to take part of the nutrition part.
Okay, wonderful.
We have to take care of nutrition part.
True. So what is the best way to tone up? That is changing your body composition. We call it body recomposition, right? What schedule should be followed by beginners to tone up or to completely have a different transformation?
So basically, body recomposition is something where you're gonna lose fat and gain muscle at a time. At the same time, which is not possible for everyone. Okay, for a beginner, yes, it is possible. Even though you're on a deficit, you can just build muscle and reduce fat to some extent. Okay, You mentioned earlier, like, if at all you used to work out before and you give a long gap in between, for them body decomposition is pretty much possible, okay, because of the muscle memory again. Okay, so the best way for the body decomposition is to train enough depending on the level we are at and providing proper nutrition to our body. And training with a little volume for a beginner is recommended compared to an advanced lifter where he needs like more volume to build the muscle.
And is it not a good idea? This is a personal question. Is it not a good idea to continue with the same routine month after month and for years together? In fact, when we were working together, I remember you coming to me and asking me to change the way I'm placing my workouts. You do push, pull, upper, lower. Well, I do two muscle each day. I do chest and back. I may do a back and bicep. I was hitting two muscles. If you recollect that, you said the way you work out is different. So should that change gradually year after year or month after month, and which is the right thing to do?
Frankly speaking, we no need to keep changing the workout variations. Okay, at some point of time we have to change the volume.
Okay.
Whenever you do workouts, your muscles will get used to a stress. Okay, so after a while it will get used to that stress.
So you're talking about the progressive
overloading, exactly. That is important. We really no need to change the workouts until and unless you really there are kind of people who get bored of variations. So for them, instead of doing with dumbbells, we can ask them to choose barbell. Okay, or maybe they can choose a machine. End of the day, they should progressively overload, and it is really not necessary to keep changing the workouts pretty often.
Then is it safe for obese people to lift weights? Because a lot of people, when they step into the gym with a lot of weight or obesity, they would wonder if strength training is a thing for them at all. Is it the same for all people stepping into gym with whichever body type? They can just go onto the weights.
If there is an obese person who is a beginner, he'll just train like a beginner, and it is pretty much safe to lift weights. There is nothing wrong in it, but he should have a proper guidance. He can't just do hip and hinge. He can't just raise his legs. He's too heavy. Okay, he can't just put too much of pressure in the initial stages. You just need to start with a beginner routine with the basic variations, and it is much better. It is absolutely safe.
Okay, so do we have different types of workout to get stronger, to get bulkier? So I keep hearing a lot of people having different ambitions. Some wanted to go lean bulk, some wanted to be bulk, the super bulk, and some wanted to maintain that lean chiseled shape. So do workout routines change as per this goal, or how do trainers like you frame out the plans?
Okay, so basically bulk is something where you hold more fat and muscle mass. If you look at the power lifter, all are pretty much bulky. They have huge muscle mass and they have good fat percentage also, a bit on a higher side. If you look at an athlete, he is having a lean muscle in the sense he is having a less fat percentage and good amount of muscle mass. Okay, and for a power lifter, his goal is to lift heavy. Of course, his strategy would be different. His workout strategy would be different. If you want to gain lean muscle, your strategy would be different, and you're not going to focus especially on the strength part. Okay, so keeping your nutrition intact, of course, you can train with a good volume for muscle hypertrophy with a good volume. Power lifter, he would be focusing on compound lifts where he would be doing maybe less repetition. There is something called RPE. Okay, so they would be training with higher RPE range, and they will try to break their personal record, giving enough gaps in between. So of course it will different for a person who is into powerlifting, so-called bulky people, or who want to lift heavy weights, and for someone who want to maintain the lean muscle mass and who want to build lean muscle mass with a less fat.
So what should people over 40, we hear a lot about the fit over 40 or fit at 40 kind of modules now these days, so what precautions should these people take when they start exercising? Folks who never had a muscle memory, never worked prior, who are just starting a new are venturing into bodybuilding at 40. So what do you suggest for such individuals, the elderly folks?
There is no right time to start the workouts. Okay, if someone is starting their weight training at the age of 40, that is super awesome. Okay, so basically workouts will help to delay that aging process. Okay, and if a person at 40 start their workout routine, let them start slow. and their physiology would be a little different when compared to their late 20s or early 20s. Okay, so but their workout pattern would be the same. Okay, so when you're at 40 and you're a beginner, you just need to train like a beginner. As simple as that.
One last question before I wrap up this session. I know you may not be willing to answer this. I'm very sure you don't give a positive answer, but I would still ask for the sake of viewers. We see a lot of people competing on stage, a lot of athletes competing on stage, and they get this eye candy physique, the chiseled physique with all the 6 packs, 8 packs, and well-built shoulders. And a lot of them go through bulking and then cutting phases, the leaning phases, with the help of a lot of anabolics. So they do anabolic drug abuse. So is that really essential to compete at a stage? Do people need to really depend or rely on anabolics? What is your take on it?
Okay. Most of the people, they're gonna get into this thing just because of poor guidance. Okay. So poor guidance, like if you go to a gym, they're gonna see someone who takes anabolics, and they feel like they could only build muscle with the help of anabolics. Of course, anabolics will enhance will speed up the process of either building muscle or dropping down the muscle, but it has its disadvantages. Okay, so it has its disadvantages, and side effects, and it is not good for someone to take anabolics in a long run. So natural athletes will have its edge on this. Natural athletes, their lifespan would be on a higher side. Their agility would be better when compared to someone who is taking anabolics.
So abusing anabolic cycle after cycle over a long period of time would definitely hit them hard. Yeah. Exactly. Right, Dilip. That is exactly what I wanted to hear on anabolics. Never abuse anabolics. That is not for us, and that is not even for competitors. Follow a good nutritionist, pretty much scientifically approved way, but not by abusing your body. Right. Thanks, Dilip. Thanks a lot for coming to our studio.
Thank you so much, sir.
I wish to do a lot more sessions with you.
Sure.
And this time, let us deep dive not just into bodybuilding and anabolics, but also into body recomposition and other aspects. Right?
Sure.
See you again.
Thank you, Suresh.
So, guys, here is a disclaimer. While myself, Dilip, we try touching a lot of topics in our vicinity, in our circumference of knowledge. Bodybuilding, or the knowledge around bodybuilding, is an ever-evolving phase. The intellect on the machines, on the body, or the nutrition, composition, that keeps going around the globe on multiple research papers. We try keeping up to date, and we'll try giving you most researched, approved, and fact-checked information. Thanks again for joining us this evening. We'll come back with more videos. See you. Signing off, Suresh Babu.